speaker. So what's a futurist, first off, right? We used to use those crystal balls and stuff, but they kept breaking in the overhead bins, so we decided to put away the crystal balls. The reality is there's no predicting here. I'm not a prediction guy. A futurist is someone who just listens, pays attention to what's going on, and try to communicate that to you. If anything, I'm more of like an optometrist, right? So imagine me just kind of trying to build some lenses for you through which you can see your own future. I can't see your future. In fact, I know this much about what you guys do, and you're going to have to look through your own self. And not just for Space Station. That's critical and important for today, but even just in your own life. So I'm going to try to make some lenses for you over the next few minutes, and then you guys see your own future. And we'll see how this rolls. Now, 1997, Gary Kasparov is the #1 chess grandmaster on the planet, and he battles IBM's Deep Blue AI. One of the first AIs that was meant to play chess, and he got spanked. It was a big deal. Gary, for a second, kind of claimed that there was some kind of cheating, or not cheating, but that he's like, look, if I had access to the same database, I could do just as good. So he asked for that. And here's what happened 20-something years later. Here's what he has to say about now, kind of what he thinks about that connection. Oh, Sean, turn my volume down.
Weak human player plus a machine plus a better process is superior to a very powerful machine alone, but more remarkably, is superior to a strong human player plus machine and an inferior process.
So Gary, after he got beat by Deep Blue, he decided to build a brand new chess league called the Centaurs, which was the best of the grandmasters plus the best of AI, and he found that neither was better than the other, but together they were incredible. Right? In fact, it didn't kill chess. In fact, now, today, there are more people that are interested in chess, more tournaments, and there are twice the number of grandmasters because of the connection of AI plus humans. And that's the point. So if AI can help us play better chess, can it help us be better pilots, drivers, doctors, lawyers? Can it help us be better teachers, gamers, content creators, speakers? Well, I think so. And that's what we're going to talk about. So, 2 objectives right off the bat. We're going to demystify AI. Then we're going to help you see your future and find opportunities that'll be incredible for you.
Sir, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, Nigel, this is not a good time. What's going on?
You asked me to interrupt you, no matter what, to remind you of something important.
Okay, well, now you've interrupted, so go ahead. What's the big deal?
Sir, your wife's birthday is tomorrow and you have, well, nothing.
We're good on nothing. Okay, remind me when I leave here, not during this presentation, I need to get something for my wife.
Very well, sir.
Now, we're going to talk a little bit more with Nigel and kind of see what he has to say about things, and Sean might recognize the reference to Nigel. That's an old family thing we'll talk about later. Well, let's demystify AI. What is this about? We kind of think of AI like this, right? We're talking to it, but it's so much more. But the problem is, guys, these guys have really ruined everything. I kid you not. It's this that has caused us to have a very jacked up view of what AI really is. We think about Terminator, it's going to become conscious, take over, and kill us, right? Except for these guys. I'm okay with this AI, right? I think we can all agree. Keep these guys, throw out the rest. The reality is artificial intelligence is a field of computer science. Here's the actual definition, which is a theory of development of computer science where computers can perform tasks normally requiring human intelligence, and then they give some examples like visual perception, speech recognition, decision-making, and translation between languages. And that's a definition that seems to make sense today. By the way, this was 1956 they coined this term. But a much easier way to think about it is just thinking machines. Now there's 3 types of AI. I'll briefly show you those 3. The first is artificial narrow intelligence. In fact, any AI you've ever heard of that exists today is this. The other 2 don't exist yet. ANI is things like, you remember back in the day, the TI-89? This thing is superhuman in calculation. This is superhuman in spatial recognition. This is superhuman in recall. Nobody can recall things like Google can, right? But the reality is none of these can even make you a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Or drive your car, or anything else. Very narrow focus. The next level is called AGI, Artificial General Intelligence. This is thought to be the level of a human. When AI can perform and do what we do, then it's AGI. And we're talking about like emotionally, physically, mentally. Honestly, and this is kind of personal belief now, guys, I don't think we're going to get here. And I'll explain why. It's not for the reason that you think. It's not just like some kind of religious, deep-held belief, which is true for me, and maybe for you as well. But there's some other reasons why I think that we don't need to get here and that we won't. But we ourselves are some kind of a general intelligence. The next level is what we call ASI, Artificial Superintelligence. This is from Captain Marvel, just came out a little bit ago, right, where she's like in the AI, kind of a BCI, brain-computer interface, and she's talking to this ASI. This is what people call the singularity. And there's some very high-level tech luminaries who believe that this is the #1 threat to the human species. Elon Musk being one of those, the late Stephen Hawking believe that this is more of a threat than anything else. And here's why I think that's not quite the case, and there's a number of people that back me up on this. Is there a chance, guys, that an asteroid could hit the Earth? Sure, right? There's got to be some chance. Okay? There's about 100. There's about 100 people on the planet who are constantly, every day, they wake up like you wake up, and they look at this problem. What's out there? What's coming? And they're analyzing, what do we do if it does? How big of an impact? There's 7.5 billion people on the planet. And there's about 100 people who pay attention to this. That's about the right proportion, right? Because this event is supposed to happen 1 every 100 million years. So, when it comes to this problem, we really just need like Bruce Willis, Ben Affleck, Owen Wilson was in there, I forgot he was in there, and about 97 other people. And the rest just don't need to worry about it. You guys, same thing with AI, ASI, AGI. We should have about 100 people out of 7.5 billion that are really worried about it every day, but that doesn't include you guys. We do not need to spend one more second concerned, afraid, worried about this. And this is why. We can't confuse machine smartness with human intelligence. We as humans are more of a symphony of intelligences. This is just a few of these, right? Emotional, intellectual, kinesthetic, the ability to touch and move. Robots have a really hard time with that. They're getting better, but it's still not there. Social intelligence, something spiritual intelligence, even like musical intelligence. But if we are so brazen to believe that we're the only intelligence that the universe has to offer, that's just hubris, right? That's just not the reality. Now, we as human beings are building a new intelligence, and we call it AI, we call it artificial intelligence. But guys, this is a synthetic mind. Think of it that way. It's a different type of intelligence, outside of us, different than us. And that's what we want. I don't want somebody who drives like Sean to be driving my new Tesla. No offense, bro. A little bit of a lead foot, right? He flexes a little bit when he gets in the car, and that's cool, that's good, that's fun. I want a brain that's way different. That is what AI is. That's the benefit, to think differently. We will solve the world's problems using a synthetic mind that is different than ours. That's what we want. And so that's why I don't think we need to build something that is just like us. So what we're going to do today in the next few minutes is we're going to talk tech, we're going to reflect, and we're going to get wrecked. Yeah.
Sir, I highly recommend that you do not get wrecked.
We'll not get wrecked. We're going to have some fun. I'm going to go over 5 things, guys. I could go over 25. We're going to go over 5 aspects where AI plus something equals something incredible. Right, the first one is AI plus the home. In fact, I'll tell you, it's going to be the home, robotics, transportation, gaming, and media. Those are the 5 today. Now, AI plus home. Anybody recognize the bonus points if you know what set that is?
Fresh Prince.
You guys are good. I'm impressed, right? When we think of AI in the home, we think of something like this, right? Something like this. Hey Siri, what's the circumference of the Earth?
The answer I found is 24,901 miles.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. We can also do this. Okay, Google, tell me a joke.
All right. What kind of music do chiropractors love? Hip hop.
Hip hop. Yeah. Oh, classic. So good. All right, we can do any jokes we want. Also, something like this. Hey Alexa, play my favorite song. Oh, no. Alexa, stop. Alexa, stop. Please stop. Okay. Not my favorite song, guys. I don't know where she got that. That's weird. But guys, when it comes to AI in the home, it's going to be more like this.
Sir, you received the only...
Now I'm going to have to fight through this. So pause for a second, guys. Pretend this isn't happening.
All the answer I found is 24,901 miles.
Yeah, this is what we're going to do, right? So it's going to be more like this. Okay, hey Nigel, I have like 2 minutes. Get me up to speed. What's going on in my life?
Sir, you received 2 calls and an email from the TED organizers needing to change your presentation date.
Nice, good. Do I have any conflicts on my schedule? I'm pretty sure I do.
The only conflict is your mountain goat yoga class. Would you like me to notify them?
Mountain goat yoga. I'm pretty sure though, doesn't Connor have a football game that conflicts with that on my calendar?
Yes, you will be back by then.
Oh, okay, I'll be good. All right, well then go ahead and just make the arrangements, make the changes for me.
I already did according to your preferences.
Nice.
And I called and left a message for the TED organizers while we were talking. So, you better get back to your presentation.
All right, let's get back to it. Right, you guys recognize this kind of like Jarvis, right? Can do so much more than just tell me a joke. That's what we're going to see in the future. The home of the future, groceries delivered to you, not because you interface with some dumb little screen. I don't mean to degrade the screen, but the reality is, guys, the interface of the future in terms of getting stuff done is going to be a lot more voice than it is screen. We'll still have plenty of screens to watch stuff, to do stuff, but you're not going to be tapping, you'll be talking. Groceries will come to you because the AI senses what you need and just restocks you. Right? Security, next level. Energy optimized in your home, all powered with Nigel, with the AI that can handle it all. This is already happening today, but I feel like this is the Wright brothers right now, right? And we're going to have a supersonic jet here in the next 5 to 10 years. So that's AI in the home. Let's look at AI plus transportation. Now, no doubt, AI is the brains behind our cars and vehicles that will be self-driving. We're already starting to see this. It's a very narrow AI that does a really good job of driving and nothing else. What's fascinating to me about this is that, and I was talking to Sean about this earlier, you know, we feel that, oh man, no, there's no way a computer can drive better than me. There's just no way, right? It hasn't had the experience that I have. It doesn't have the years, the miles on the road. So let's just say I buy a Tesla, right? This is 3 or 4 or 5 years in the future. Buy a Tesla, we go out driving, every turn I take, everything it sees and senses, every time I grab the wheel or let go, it notes all of that. So over that 15 miles I drove that day, it takes all that data, uploads it. It would be amazing if it did just that, meaning that next day it's got 15 more miles of experience. But the reality is it's not going to be like that. It'll take that 15 miles of my info, plus yours, plus everybody's on the planet that has that same kind of a system, upload it, AI analyzes everything, makes a new algorithm to run your car, and when you wake up in the morning, it's as if your car drove 15 million miles overnight. So you'll wake up and all of a sudden, it's 15 million miles down the road. Better. And then the next day, another 15 and another 15. You can see how very quickly it will have seen anything that any driver has ever seen in just a matter of a few days. That is how this will be. Guys, I promise you, and I know that, look, I love to drive. You see the car I rented out here. Just I laid some stripes down in the parking lot. Had a blast. Horses, right? Audis. It's fun to drive. It's also fun to ride a horse. That used to be our transportation. Now it's sport. Driving will be sport. I have a 5-year-old. I don't think he's going to get a license. I don't think he'll want to or need to. But someday I'm going to take him out on a track and we're going to go burn some tires, right? For fun. That is the future. And we will save 40,000 lives every year in the U.S. because of it. Think of the people that you know that have been in car accidents or died. 95% of that will be gone. Just won't happen anymore, which is amazing. Right? Across the world, 1 million people. So I knew a guy that had a Tesla. This is just recently. He's driving along the freeway, 70-something miles an hour, autopilot mode, truck in front of him, car in front of that truck. Well, all of a sudden the Tesla beeps and then starts braking really hard. And for a split second, he's like, what's going on? What's the deal? And then a split second later, that truck barrels into the car. You see, the Tesla didn't just sense or see the brake lights of the truck in front of him. It sensed the car in front stopping and stopped the whole thing. He's like, it totally avoided a crash. Right, you can see right here, Tesla sitting there parked, rear camera, Prius coming hot. Tesla takes off to avoid the crash. Listen to the beep here. Beep, crash. Right, that 2-second, 1-second difference is the difference between colliding or not. That, guys, we're going to look back at this and not laugh, hopefully, but be incredibly sad that we ever had to take the wheel. Truly. And I know that sounds just so weird today, but we are not far from that. Again, it stops quickly enough to avoid the accident. Now, what happens in 5, 6, 7, 8 years when cars don't have steering wheels? When they don't have brake pedals? Are they called a car? Toyota's calling it a pod. They're working on that. By the way, every manufacturer is working on some autonomous vehicle, some kind of electric vehicle. This is Mercedes. This is their concept. It's like a private jet. You're facing each other. You got screens on the doors, and it just cruises you around. That's a lot more the future of how you're going to get around. And instead of calling an Uber, again, AI is going to kind of know, hey, looks like Sean's got an appointment across town in 5 minutes. Pull a car up, gets in, takes off. That is what's happening. That's the future. And it's not just cars. This is a concept of a modular bus system. Okay, so I get into the bus, and it knows where I need to go. So it tells me, get into pod number 3. So I get up, I walk over, I sit down in pod 3, the doors close in between, and the pod breaks off and takes me to my house. Then the bus rejoins. It never has to stop. It just keeps going, and everybody gets to the right place. This is the intersection of the future. Could you imagine approaching this thing about 45 miles an hour? Blow your mind, right? But when AI is controlling all the vehicles, we just simply don't have to stop. It knows where everything's going. This is actually I watched a TED Talk. This is from a TED Talk. This is like blood flowing through veins. That's a much more natural way to move stuff quickly. And that's what we're going to see in the future. In fact, you guys will be cruising down the freeway, 120 miles an hour, 18 inches apart, and just be jamming. That is what's coming for us. But it's not just that. We're also looking at, let's see if this thing works here. Find my cool little spotlight. Nope, wrong button. There it is. This is Uber's concept of a pod plus a drone, picks you up and takes you off. Chinese companies already have some autonomous drones, and this is CES just recently. Bell Helicopter has a 6-rotor drone that they're working on. Everybody's working on this stuff. Semi-trucks. Tesla already launched one. Another one called Nikola, right? Launched one. In the future, in the near future, we're not going to have truck drivers. I think we're going to have, I'm going to call them supervisors. I don't know what they'll be called. I'm sitting in the front as a supervisor. Don't have to have a CDL and all this training. I need to know some stuff, some emergency stuff and whatnot. But these 3 trucks right here are following each other. Those have no driver. You have 5 or 6 in a convoy, just cruise along the road. Supervised by one person. This is the future. So guys, the question is, when that is our future, we're going to free up 30 to 60 minutes a day in our lives. The average person commutes 27 minutes one way. So the question is, what are we going to do with that time? What are we going to do with that time?
More gaming.
Yeah, that's exactly my point. Look, are we going to do more work? Yeah, we will, right? We're going to get some more work done, answer more emails. Are we going to maybe study for tests if we're in school? Hopefully we call our mom every now and then, guys. Come on, let's connect with our family. Maybe we journal, maybe we plan, maybe we dream, maybe we watch stuff. Hey guys, billions of minutes are going to be freed up here shortly to watch your content, the content of your creators. Be sleeping in these suckers? Look at that, that'd be sweet. That's like Emirates first class in your car. And we'll also get those, what are those things called? They got like the screens that don't move. It's like a thin book, that's right. We'll be maybe reading books, I don't know. It's AI, and this is one of my major takeaways. AI, guys, is going to free up, if anything, it's going to free up our time. It's going to free up tasks in your day that we're sucking out time. The question is, what are we doing with it? That's the question. All right, let's move on. AI plus robotics, one of my favorites. This is a robot in a Tesla factory, big old boy lifting up cars. Notice one thing, you see this glass? All of them are in cages. Why is that? Anybody? It'll kill you. Like you get anywhere near the sucker, it will take your head off and not even know that it did. Robotics today in terms of factories, it's just a dangerous place to be. Future robotics, this is one version called Baxter. Looks kind of a little too friendly, a little too fluffy, but this is a legit robot that knows humans are around it, senses it. You can literally come up, it'll touch you and move away. It can sense you and feel you, and uses some machine vision and some neural networks to know what's going on. This guy's actually training the robot what to do. I see a future in just a few years where for 25 grand, buy one of those bad boys, put it in your garage, teach it what to do. It uses some AI to make it better, optimize it, and then overnight it's building crap for it all day. That's going to be happening soon. All right, let's take a quick little stroll down history lane with Boston Dynamics, one of the top companies building robotics today. This is one of the early versions, built for the military. It's like a horse. This thing's gas-powered. I should have turned the audio on this one. Literally, it's like you can hear the gas engine running. Pretty impressive, though. What's wild about this is that my 5-year-old can handle this. Robotics are still trying to get situated as far as what they can handle, but they're getting better. They then took that big guy, made him smaller, called Spot. Now this one's kind of interesting. Pay attention to how you feel when you look at this. Okay, so we've got a robot bending down, trying to grab a box, doing some pretty impressive work here, testing some balance. So, Sean highlighted my point. What we probably should be thinking is, holy cow, did you see how well that thing, using computer vision, can analyze the location of the box, move itself, and adjust and pick it up? And did you see when they applied an external force and how well it handled? No, what are we thinking? Freaking lay off the robot, man. He's just trying to do his thing, right? Listen, I'm not going to get on this topic. I could spend 30 minutes talking about human-robot interfaces. And that's what we do. We feel bad for it. We're like, we assign it, instantly we assign it personality because it has some level of autonomy, some level of life. This is going to be incredible for us because we'll be able to interface with these robots really well, but it's also going to create some real challenges. There are families in Japan today that are burying their robotic dogs, right? Because it becomes a member of the family. They do some other cool stuff, put one on wheels, it can do a lot cooler stuff than that. This is the newest version of Atlas, the kind of humanoid robot. It's just doing some wicked hardcore, man. And of course at the end sticks the landing. What's funny is, this is Spot. So Spot has, it looks like a head, it's an arm. Doing its thing, right? Trying to open the door. But then what's this guy got to do? Freaking jerk.
Bully.
Come on, man! But look at how well that machine, because it's a machine, look how animalistic it looks, right? It's just trying to do its thing. This one just doesn't look real. It doesn't look real. Because it's so precise. Watch its left leg, how it shakes a little bit when it comes up. It's like self-balancing on the fly. Incredible, right? Exciting stuff. This one's one of my favorites.
Oh my God.
Just hardcore. Wow. So, this is part of the reason why we freak out, like, oh my gosh, something coming at me with a gun or something? You guys, are we going to get to this level robot? Yeah, I think we will. Is it going to take some of our tasks and jobs in factories and such? Absolutely will. Will it become conscious and kill us in our sleep? I hope not, right? I don't think so. I don't think so. But certainly, I mean, because here's the reality, guys. I can't get my dadgum printer to recognize my computer today, right? So I think we're a little ways off from this. But here's the takeaway with robotics. And not just robotics. Think of AI in general as far as automation. This is we have now seen the end of routine. Think of anything you do today that's routine. Driving is one of them. Pretty routine, right? Think of anything else. Laundry. My wife, I calculated, she does laundry in one day, about 6 hours. Takes her to do. We have a family of 7, 5 kids. That's like almost an hour a day she's spending doing stupid laundry, right? Anything routine is going to be automated, both physical and kind of mental work. So we're talking about things, guys, and don't get afraid of this, but we're talking like programmers. I don't think in 10 years you're going to sit down and try to build an app. I think you'll just tell Nigel, build me like a rough version of an app that does this, that, and the other. It puts it together and builds it, right? Video editors. Video editors aren't going away. But Brandon, instead of having to spend so many hours looking through an hour of Shonduras' stuff, can instead, Shonduras, as he's taking the video, 5G connection, it's instantly going right up to the cloud in real time. AI takes that, knows kind of how Brandon edits, knows his feel, his personality, his creativity, and does like a first version cut for him. Cut, whatever, puts it together, then Brandon sits down, more as a supervisor, and says, now I'm going to change this, move that, and he, by the way, half the time he's just talking. Now move that clip, I don't like that, change this, change the music, and let's go, right? The end of routine, guys. Paralegals, there's no reason why a human being should be looking at legal documents. That's like the dumbest thing. No offense if anybody is a paralegal or as a family member. That paralegal instead should be letting the AI do the analyzing and then they talk to the humans about what it means, right? Radiologists, there's just no reason why we should be looking at images. Let the AI find the issues, which by the way does so much better job, no offense. But the radiologist interfaces with the person to talk to them about what it means. That's the point. All right. So this is all become okay with it. I'm okay with this, right? Check out this. Don't believe me, just watch. Come on. How rad is that? If anything, I just want that dog in my house, right? All right, let's move on. 2 more left, guys. AI plus gaming. Thought it might be appropriate for this group, right? So we already talked about in 1997, Kasparov gets beat by Deep Blue. That, by the way, Deep Blue is just pure brute force calculation. At the time, that computer was high-end, did 200 million calculations a second. Every time Kasparov would move, it would look at every single possible move, find the optimal one, and make that move. straightforward, right? Cool.
Let's sign the first robot Spacestation.
Well, we're going to see that here in just a second. 2016, Google bought a company called DeepMind. DeepMind builds AlphaGo. AlphaGo is AI that played the game of Go. This ancient game of Go is one of the oldest on the planet, but it's incredibly complex. It has more moves than there are atoms, not in the game, not on the Earth, than there are atoms in the known universe. That's how many possibilities there are in this game. Basically infinity. Infinity number of moves. It's just black and white little dots on a checkerboard kind of thing. So you can't use brute force, guys. There's no way brute force would work. That same AI, Deep Blue, could never handle this. So Google built AlphaGo. It beat this guy. He's a grandmaster on the planet. Beat him 4 games to 1. And they used a new processor called a TPU, a tensor processor unit. Does 420 teraflops, so 420 trillion calculations a second. Pretty fast, right? Your Xbox is about 6 teraflops, something like that. And using machine learning and using neural networks, it basically watched like the best guys play like 1,000 games and just analyzed it. But here's what blows my mind. So they conquered this guy. That wasn't enough for Google, for DeepMind. So they built another AI called AlphaZero. The difference here, and this is what's important, is that the new one didn't learn by watching other humans play the game. It didn't even learn by watching AlphaGo, which by the way they called it AlphaGo Lee because he beat Lee. It didn't even watch him play a game. They basically gave it the rules and said, just go play the game against yourself. And it learned to play. Within 36 hours, it was at the same level as AlphaGo Lee. The next day, it beat it 100 games to 0. Right? And one day next, it became that good. And then, of course, within 40 days, it's the best on the planet. Well, let's go one more level deep. StarCraft. So it's one thing to have a brute force calculation with chess. It's another thing to have like this really simple game, but a lot of moves. This is a whole different world, guys. You guys have played these types of games, right? We're talking strategy. We're talking like resource management, long-term planning as you're playing these games. Multiple characters that have different powers and abilities, and different outcomes and different goals. So brute force wouldn't work. They end up matching this up. This is Alpha Star against the top player in the world. This is what happened.
I wasn't expecting the AI to be that good. Everything that we did was proper, it was calculated and it was done well. I thought I'm learning something. It's much better than expected. I would consider myself a good player, right? But I lost every single one of my games.
We're way ahead of what I thought we were doing in like 2 months ago.
0. Dude got spanked by that young robot, right? But he was, I don't know if you caught one thing he said in there, he's like, but I felt like I was learning something. So that was in December of last year. This year, January, they decided to do some big rematch. Actually had like cameras there, this whole big old deal. They put it in like an arena, and the guy, the human, won. And you're like, chalk it up for the human, right? Go Team Human. And I'm Team Human. But what's interesting is he said he learned from the AI. The AI became his coach. And how? Why was that AI so good? Well, they didn't use 420 TPUs. They used 9,600 TPUs. Right? So we're talking a ton of processing power. And when they ran it through the simulation to play StarCraft, it had played 60,000 years of StarCraft. When you have a coach that's played 60,000 years of StarCraft, he's going to be a pretty good coach. Can you guys imagine your world training your players, your teams, your esports teams with superhuman coaches? Again, the combination of the human and the robot is what's going to be the best. It's pretty exciting stuff. Now, we don't build AI so we can just play games. It's cool, it's fun, but the reality is they're trying to use games as a way to train AI to navigate a world. StarCraft was a world, they're going to translate that to our world. But I do think that there are some interesting implications for games. I think that AI is going to do an incredible job at building scenes, and just the graphics will be next level. I mean, we have some amazing stuff today, next level with AI. Also, the AI characters that you interface with, especially with VR and AR, are going to be so convincing you'll just feel like you're talking to another person. It's going to be pretty exciting, pretty cool stuff. All right, last one, guys. AI plus media. You might recognize this. Now, I'm going to show you just a couple tools to end here, and And I want you to look at them as tools for creators, not as threats, but instead a way that we can create more good content. The first one is called, I'm going to remember what it's called, motion retargeting. This is where you take a test subject, in this case Bruno Mars, AI using computer vision analyzes how he moves, and then you take a video clip of awkward people, just a few seconds of an awkward person moving and kind of turning around, and then watch what the AI does. Awkward people, right? And all of a sudden, can you see some artifacts? Like, the hand's perfect, it's a little weird and fuzzy. Yeah, they do. But guys, this will be 10 times better next year. 10 times better. It'll be absolutely convincing. And I'm not excited about this just so we can make people dance like me, they're awkward. But imagine this, okay? So imagine this same kind of a thing, except I'm watching now Guardians of the Galaxy, and I want to be the main guy. I want to be the Star-Lord. Take a scan of me. It's my voice, synthesized voice, my body, his actions, and his acting and his words. Today we could render that out. In 10 years from now, when quantum computing is a thing, when I even talk about that today, 1,000,000 times more powerful than our current computers, 1,000,000. Right? That same thing that beat AlphaGo will be in your pocket. You can do that in real time. Literally, you can be like, okay, my wife's going to be her, and I'm going to be him, or whatever, and watch a movie with yourself. Pretty cool stuff, right? Using this as well. This is called deep fakes.
Now, you see, I would never say these things, at least not in a public address, but someone else would. Someone like Jordan Peele. This is a dangerous time. Moving forward, we need to be more vigilant with what we trust from the internet.
And that's a good lesson in itself. But the point here is that we got President Obama saying whatever he wants you to say. Again, is it perfect? Is it not going to be perfect? No. It will be 10 times better next year. This creates a challenge because, and this already, by the way, and don't go for this, I don't recommend this, but you can imagine people that have access to this. They're deep fakes. Chickens are deep fakes, maybe. Maybe seen some things you shouldn't have seen on some deep fakes. Because you can imagine, right? They're basically placing celebrities in very compromising positions and very convincingly. But this also has the power to do some great good for us. But how are we going to know it's true? How are we going to know it's real? They say it's going to take AI to see AI in the future, which is a little bit sketchy. So we're going to have to definitely trust our sources. 2 more. You guys saw this, right? Remember what Peter McKinnon said about this? This is GoGans by NVIDIA. Do you remember his video caption? The death of the photographer. Using a DATCOM-like interface. You guys remember Microsoft Paint? You guys are too young. Microsoft Paint. I'm painting over here. It's rendering in real time, basically in real time, a photorealistic picture. But the difference here is it's not just like photoshopping existing rocks. It's actually building the rocks in real time. It's analyzing the reflections of everything. It's just everything in real time, building a photorealistic thing. And Pete McKinnon said, "Dadgum, this is it. Our photographer's done." I don't think so. My personal opinion is that there's always going to be an appetite for the real. But you take a guy like me who can literally not make a stick figure, and I can then build something pretty impressive to show somebody. Here's what I'm thinking, Sean, and I write it out. Here's what I'm looking for, Brandon, and I can create something pretty awesome. Architects will use the heck out of this. Game designers, you can make incredible worlds if you have this kind of tool. And by the way, Nigel's going to help you out. So say, Nigel, I'm looking to build a snowscape with a snowmobile going here, whatever, and there it is. Pretty exciting stuff. This is a motion capture. Used to be millions of dollars in a Hollywood studio. Now you have YouTubers doing motion capture in something just like this. You guys have played around a little bit of this with some of the Oculus stuff. Yeah. There are YouTubers, right? This is like a Japanese YouTuber who exclusively does this. Just as a online personality. Pretty wild. Here's the point, guys, with media. 10 years ago, TV executives would have laughed you out of the room if you said the guy sitting on a couch, would get off the couch, create content that would garner millions of subscribers, billions of views with the cameras that they have in their hand. They would have laughed you out of the room. If you told them, oh yeah, by the way, brands are going to pay big money for it. Companies are going to be built from that. Laugh out because there's no way anybody is going to pay money for something that's that low budget. There's no way they're going to watch that. There's no way they're going to give their attention to something like that. Well, let's laugh into the bank, right? Because that is just simply the new world of media are guys like this, people like that, individuals like this, and cool teams like that, right? You guys are creating content, millions of subs, billions of views. This is the media of the future. Absolutely convinced. In the next 5 years, 10 years, only more money, more attention, more brands will come in. A-list celebrities are joining up. You guys are already starting to see that. This is the future of media. Some of the old school executives are pooping the pants right. They really are struggling to figure out what to do about it, where the rest of us are enjoying it. And here's why, right? 27-minute commute, I talked about that. LeBron chilling in the back of his autonomous vehicle. He now has an extra hour of his day. Multiply that by 115 million people every day. This is just in the US. You have 3.1 billion extra minutes in America every day. Now, what are they going to do? Hopefully they call their mom. Hopefully they get some work done, maybe take a nap. But do you think they're going to maybe entertain themselves a little bit? You guys, in the next 5 to 10 years, you will see an explosion of views, explosion of people watching your content. So here's the summary, guys. Humanity will change. I said this at the beginning. Humanity will change more in the next 20 years than in the last 300, since the 1700s. And I firmly believe that. Why? Because it's not a linear growth pattern anymore. We're now on the exponential scale, right? Like it or not, we are here. Right now, we are at this stage. I think we're kind of at number 4. We're starting to see these things come online already. Internet of Things, that's a thing. Smart everything, cool. On-demand learning, getting there. AR, VR, getting better, way better in the last 5 years than it was. Quantum computing, we talked about that. And we're going to get into some material science. And I could do a whole 10-minute lecture on just battery science and how that alone, imagine your battery being 10 times, it's just 10 times better, not even 100. 10 times better, you charge once a week. Your car goes 3,000, 4,000 miles on a charger. That's reality in the coming years. Just a couple notches puts us at 32, 8 times better. A couple more notches, it's wild. So if you remember nothing more than what I talked about today, here are the 3 takeaways that I want to give you today, okay? The number 1 takeaway is just to start implementing when you see it. Start to lean into it. If you guys have ever driven a jet ski, you'll know that when you want to control and turn it, you got to give it power. The second you let off the power, you lose the ability to turn. With AI and with advancing technologies, we will be able to control it only if we're giving it power, if we're pushing into it. So look for the opportunities. Throw away stuff that's crap. Don't be distracted. Don't be afraid. Fear's not going to help us. Fear is what's going to stop us from moving forward. The next one, be positive. Sounds kind of like whatever, a little bit of Gary Vee up in there, right? But truly, guys, positivity, being optimistic about the future is one of the most important traits. Because here's the reality. The future doesn't exist. It hasn't happened. It gets happened. You guys are building it. We're building it. The space station future is in this room. Your own personal future, your family, right? And so being positive about the future will be the result of what the future ends up becoming, simply because you believe it will be. I think part of the challenge we have today, because of Hollywood, no thanks to them, we all are afraid of the future. Most people are afraid of the future. I'm just asking you to reconsider and believe like I believe that the future is like 90% awesome. I think 10% is going to be a little shaky, a little sketchy. We can work with that. 90%, really exciting and incredible. And the last thing, guys, is to have a human-centered focus. This is my last point. I told you this before. If there's anything AI does for us, is it frees up time. And when it frees up time, then it gives us the option to do something with that time. When it comes to the space station, I hope that we take that time to think about the human-centered focus, meaning the content that you create, the people that you deal with are people, right? And the content you create is so people have fun, so they have a great time, so they enjoy themselves, so they add value to the world. It's all about people at the end of the day. And when we let AI and automation and robots do all that mundane crap, that, by the way, quite frankly, we will be embarrassed that we ever did some of these things that we do now. We'll be embarrassed that we ever had to do it. When they take over that and we have more time, I hope that we can emphasize that which makes us uniquely human, which is creativity, which is empathy, sympathy, leadership, spontaneity, relationships, and even love. Because when we focus on that, we become more human. I believe, this is kind of, sounds counterintuitive, I believe that AI will do more to help us be more human than anything we've ever created. If we let it. And if we let it, then this equation becomes something even more powerful. It's AI plus everything plus you equals what? The best future ever. Guys, I really appreciate your attention. Thank you. Thanks a lot.